Paul Gauguin is a painter from the 19th century. He was born in 1848 in Paris, in France, and died in 1903. When he was 2 years old, he moved to live to Peru, but on the trip, his father died. So they continued living in Peru for 5 years with Paul's uncle. This period of time living in Peru would end up being a great influence of Gauguin's art. When they came back from Peru, they went to live to Orleans with his grandfathers, located in France. In these years, Gauguin learned French, but he continued preferring Spanish as his language. When he was 24 years old, he was working in the French Navy, and when he was working with the French Navy in the India, his mother died, and he realized that 2 months after the death of his mother. When Paul Gauguin returned to France, he became an important businessman because the boyfriend of his mother made him an important businessman, but because of a crisis he changed his work to a painter, that after the crisis he works as a painter all his time. Gauguin's first paintings were of the beautiful streets of Paris, and he did this because it was his passion, not just for money. This picture is called Where We Come From, about us, where we go. The style of this work is post-impressionism, that is the main style of Paul Gauguin. It represents the mood of the author because he was sad because the poor health of his daughter. The Yellow Christ. This painting is from 1899. It was made in Britain. It follows the cloisonné technique inspired by enamels and stained glass. Paul Gauguin made this painting to represent the autumn. That's why the painting had a lot of brown and yellow colors. La Siesta. This picture was made from 1992 to 1994. The author was inspired by his trip to Haiti, when he stayed during a year. It represents women enjoying themselves in nature. Now this picture is in the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York. Paul Gauguin was an artist from the post-impressionism. His paintings were characterized for a simplified drawing and large color surface delimited by black contours. Post-impressionism is an artistic movement that was born in France at the end of 18th century. It is represented as a continuation of the impressionism, but it changed many characteristics from the impressionism. Some characteristics of the post-impressionism are, for example, expressive use of color, emotional distortion, disregard of traditional rules of perspective, the simplification of forms, subjectivity, primitivism, Japanism, and the prevalence of the emotion over reason. Curiosities of Paul Gauguin. He had a very good relationship with Vincent van Gogh, and they admired each other. Both were artists of the post-impressionism, and many times Vincent van Gogh has gone to Paul Gauguin's house to visit him. Gauguin was on the verge of bankruptcy because in April of 1897 he received news that his favorite daughter, Aline, had tragically died of pneumonia, and also that month he learned that he had to leave his home because the land where his home was had been sold. Finally, this author died on the 8th of 1903 at the age of 54 years in France. The cause of the death was syphilis. Thank you very much for your attention.